Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now it is happening. Bitcoin is starting to break out from this new price pattern in the short term that we need to pay attention to, while the price of Bitcoin is continuing to repeat history, still playing out the short-term bullish divergence, and we are currently in the process of wiping out this massive level of liquidity in the immediate short term that we also need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, alongside XRP still testing and currently bouncing from this crucial area of support in the shorter term, alongside Chainlink also bouncing from this very important area on the price chart. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, indicating a larger bear market or larger correction in the price of Bitcoin. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have a massive bearish divergence playing out, which is technically still active. So over the last one day, obviously nothing's really changed here on the weekly time frame, looking at the longer term trends that we're in. And if we're taking a look at the 3-day time frame, of course, right now in the somewhat shorter term here, talking about a period of weeks, the price is still just bouncing around in a bit of a sideways price range. So once again, not a lot changed on this chart right here. We're still playing out the oversold signal, but of course lacking bullish momentum and holding underneath this resistance, while also still holding above this support, which continues to suggest and most likely is going to cause more choppy sideways price action between this support and this resistance over the next potentially couple of weeks or so. But of course, during that sort of price action, while we're playing out that sideways price range, obviously we're not going perfectly in a straight line sideways. We're seeing a bit of volatility, choppy sideways price action, obviously, which contains both short-term bearish moves and short-term bullish moves, but overall just bouncing around relatively sideways on the price chart, as we can see here on the 2-hour Bitcoin price chart. So obviously, over the last couple of weeks or so, we have seen multiple short-term bullish divergences and a short-term bearish divergence playing out here, causing short-term bullish movements and short-term bearish movements, but once again, remaining in this sideways price range lasting multiple weeks. And right now we're on one of those short-term bullish moves lasting just a period of days. And obviously over the last couple of days, we have been playing out this shorter term bullish divergence here on the 2-hour Bitcoin price chart. And of course, another factor helping to cause this slight little bullish move over the last couple of days, especially, is thanks to the fact that we have liquidity, or we had liquidity building just above the price of Bitcoin here, sitting at around 68,500. And I talked about this recently here on the channel. Keep in mind that is a level of liquidity, which means it's extremely likely, as always, no guarantees, but there's a high probability that the price will move towards that level to wipe out that level and hit that level at around 68,500. And obviously that's exactly now happened as predicted, but we still have liquidity just above the price of Bitcoin to keep in mind at around 68.8k. So keep that in mind. 68,800 is still yet to be hit, which means it's very likely, once again, no such thing as a guarantee, but it's very likely that some stage very soon, most likely within the next day or two, the price will very likely move towards hitting that level at around 68.8k. And while all of that's playing out here in the shorter term, we also now have an active inverse head and shoulders pattern here on the 2-hour Bitcoin price chart. Now, as of recording this video, we're currently in the retest phase. So this is definitely a make or break moment for at least this short-term price pattern right here for the price of Bitcoin. Obviously, we've already technically confirmed the breakout with multiple candle closes above the neckline here. So technically, this is now an active inverse head and shoulders pattern, an active bullish price pattern right now as of recording this video. But as usual, if we confirm a break back below this neckline, so if we see, for example, a 2-hour candle close well below 68.1k, especially back below 68,000, especially if we fail to get back above that area, then that would actually invalidate the breakout, therefore completely invalidating the price pattern and the price target. But with that being said, for as long as we're now holding this level on the price chart at around 68.1k, give or take, for as long as we hold this level and ideally see a bounce very, very soon to potentially come up towards this level of liquidity in the coming hours or days here, in that situation, looking at the technical price target for this inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is now technically active once once again, but we need to hold this level to keep it active. The technical price target for this pattern is sitting at roughly 70,500, around 70,500. And so if we're simply taking a look at where we are right now to that price target as of recording the video, that's a little over a 3% move, around a 3 to 4% move towards the upside, and that's with no leverage. So obviously we're only talking about very short-term moves, which is very small moves on the price chart, obviously. And so as always, understand the difference between the different time frames. This is talking about the immediate short term, the next few days potentially, and a very small move on the price chart. If you zoom out on the weekly time frame, that sort of move will barely be visible at all. So understand the difference between the different time frames. Once again, the bigger picture, the multi-month trend, still technically bearish. The somewhat midterm, if we're talking about a period of weeks, relatively neutral, bouncing around sideways. The short-term situation, at least while we're still holding this line right here, looking more bullish than bearish if we're talking about a period of hours or days. And now you might be thinking that a move of 3 or 4% is barely worth it at all. Obviously, it's a quite small move in the price chart. But with that being said, for example, if you're using a 10x leverage long position, in this case, would be a 30 to 40% profit if we ultimately hit the price target. Not financial advice, just sharing an example with a 10x leverage long, how you could potentially amplify a relatively small move to actually still make a decent profit. Once again, no guarantees, not financial advice, but if ultimately that hits the price target, that's potentially a decent trade here with the point of invalidation just below this line. Of course, once again, if we invalidate the breakout by breaking back below this line at around 68.1k, especially back below 60,000 or 68,000, I should say, in that situation, once again, that would invalidate the price target, therefore invalidating the trade. And of course, if you want to take trading opportunities just like this for yourself, you need to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And if you use the first link below the video in the description and in the pinned comment, that first link below the video will take you to the BTNX crypto exchange, this page right here, which is an exchange that I personally use myself. And by the way, it's a no KYC exchange. And simply just by making your account using that first link below the video to BTNX, once again on this page, you can see that there's currently an exclusive prize pool up to 50,000 USDT, simply just by making an account and trading crypto using that first link below the video. You could potentially take advantage of major prize money here just by trading crypto. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using that first link below the video, once again over on BTNX. And remember, BTNX is also a no KYC exchange. But if you want another option out there, another exchange that I also use, so you could also claim some extra bonuses on, then in that situation, check out the second link below the video in the description and in the pinned comment, because the second link below the video will take you to this page right here over on the 2bit crypto exchange, which by the way is also a no KYC exchange and is an exchange that I personally use myself. And using that second link below the video, once again, it'll take you to this page where you can take advantage of potentially up to 800,000 USD worth of prizes just by simply trading crypto using that second link below the video. So once again, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well check this out. You might as well take advantage of this. Once again, second link below the video. And remember, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the daily time frame, and the immediate short-term move is obviously a slight little bounce, a slight little bullish move, but ultimately the larger trend we're currently in on the daily Bitcoin dominance chart is still relatively neutral. We're basically just bouncing around in a bit of a sideways price range, which means a lot of the major altcoins out there on average will still likely be performing very similar to whatever Bitcoin does. And so in other words, when it comes to altcoins, definitely pay attention to what Bitcoin does, especially at this line right here. If ideally we hold this line right here and continue the breakout towards the upside in the coming hours and days, of course, that could potentially help a lot of altcoins just in the shorter term with just a slight little relief. But remember, bigger picture, still not looking too good if we're talking about multiple months for Bitcoin. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, it's basically the same story for Ethereum as what I've been saying here on the channel, and the same story as what I've been saying for Bitcoin. Obviously, the larger trend we're in, the multi-month trend, still clearly bearish. We've not yet seen any proper confirmation to actually confirm the end of this larger bearish trend or the reversal out of this trend. But the short-term situation, talking about the next couple of weeks potentially, and over the last 1 to 2 weeks, has been just a lot of choppy sideways price action with initially a slight little bounce from the local low, which was to be expected because we're playing out this oversold signal in the 3-day Ethereum RSI. And so all of that is still playing out as predicted on the 3-day Ethereum price chart. And if we're taking a look at the daily Ethereum price chart, chart, once again, we're also playing out an oversold signal, and we're currently just bouncing between support and resistance. So when it comes to support, we still have a lot of support at give or take 1.8k based on this Fibonacci level. We also have a bit of short-term support here sitting at just above 1.9k, around 1910 to 1920, and we have a lot of resistance at just above 2.1k, especially closer towards 2150 as a major level of resistance. And so honestly, there's not much else to add here for Ethereum. Not a lot has changed over the last one day. So without wasting your time, getting straight into the price of XRP on the weekly time frame. And technically speaking, if we're looking at the larger trend we're in, like I've been saying throughout the video and many videos for many months now, actually, we're still clearly within a long-term multi-month bearish trend, playing out the massive bearish divergence that I actually warned about all the way back up here when pretty much no one else out there was warning about this, talking about the next massive multi-month collapse still to come when the price was actually above $3 per XRP. So obviously all of that's still playing out as predicted many months ago, but we are running into this major area of support here sitting at around $1.30 to $1.40. So continue to expect a decent amount of support at this area, which by the way is an area I've been talking about since, once again, much higher prices. But if we're taking a look at the 3-day XRP price chart, while the price is technically still within the much larger multi-month bearish trend, just in the shorter term, of course, we're taking a bit of a break, a bit of a relief from all of this crazy bearish price action here, which is to be expected because once again, we hit oversold in the 3-day XRP RSI for the first time in well over a year since the middle of 2024. And now, once again, as I've said many times over the last 1 to 2 weeks, this does not guarantee that we've hit the bottom and we're now reversing out of the bearish trend. It does not mean that necessarily. It can potentially just mean a slight little relief to reset the RSI, which can technically give us more room towards the downside later on. So just keep that in mind. We've not fully confirmed the end of this larger bearish trend, at least not yet, but just the short term for the next few days or possibly weeks, it is still quite likely we'll continue either just a slight little bullish relief or maybe some choppy sideways price action over the next 1 or 2 weeks, potentially just having a bit of a break during that larger bearish trend is still the situation for XRP. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 3-day time frame, it's a very similar situation for Solana, obviously still within the multi-month bearish trend, but taking a bit of a break in the shorter term, bouncing around sideways, holding above support in the shorter term for the price of Solana. Obviously, we're holding this area of support sitting in between around $75 to $80, and we have a lot of resistance in this area in between $95 to $105. We're also obviously playing out this oversold signal, as I've been saying for over a week now, in fact for roughly 2 weeks now, playing out this oversold signal in the 3-day Solana RSI, meaning we're most likely going to see either a very slight bullish relief or honestly most likely just a lot of choppy sideways price action within this range right here between this support and this resistance. And so continue to expect basically more of the same for the price of Solana, obviously still playing out as predicted, and I continue to predict this moving forward at least in the coming days or weeks. And if we're taking a look at Chainlink on the 3-day time frame, it's basically the same story for Chainlink. So keeping this quick, we're still holding this area of support sitting in between $7.90 to $8.50, and of course we still have a lot of resistance here in between $9.50 to $10, and we're also of course playing out an oversold signal in the 3-day Chainlink RSI, telling us to expect for a period of potentially weeks just either a slight bullish relief or most likely a lot of choppy sideways price action, which is most likely going to remain in this range right here between that support and that resistance that I just mentioned, just in the shorter term. But remember, it is possible to see a lot of choppy sideways price action or a slight little bullish relief during the much larger multi-month bearish trend. So at least for now, that's still the shorter term, and the bigger picture not really changed at all over the last 1 day. But once again, if you want to trade any of these moves, no matter what direction the price goes, definitely get set up ready to go using those links below this video to those exchanges if you want to take advantage of massive bonuses only available using those links to certain exchanges. And of course, if you want to actually know how you can trade these sort of moves, no matter what direction the price goes, to profit no matter what direction the price goes, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen, because the video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.